Okay, in this video, I thought I'd sew up the lapped zipper application, but this time I'll try with these two home sewing machine feet. The other video I made, I sewed it up in the classroom on the industrial machine. So let's see if it's any different using these different feet or if it turns out exactly the same. So the first step is in lap zipper is to actually sew the bottom seam of your garment. So I'm gonna just take both of these and put it right sides together. I'm gonna sew with a 5/8 inch seam allowance. And let's see, where does our zipper go? I guess I want my lap zipper to start about right here. So I'm just gonna put a little snip and a little notch there for where I want the seam to begin. Okay, so I'm gonna have my seam start right about here. So 5/8 inch, I'm just gonna sew straight down, regular straight stitch, back stitching the start and the bottom. Okay, it looks like I got my notch lined up where my needle is. I need to make sure that my stitch is on the straight stitch. Okay, my stitch length's about a 3, that's fine. Yeah, I think I'm ready to go. And I'm gonna back stitch. Okay, I'm just gonna try to make sure my raw edge stays even with that engraved line that says 5/8 inch. Like to sew with no fabric. It's just there's a good chance my machine could jam, so I'm at the end, so I'm ready to backstitch. Okay, and I'm good, so I'll lift up my presser foot. Okay, so I went ahead and I sewed the bottom part of the seam. So now my next step is that I didn't base the top part, but instead what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna press it with the iron. Okay, so it's kind of like an iron based, I guess, if you will. So I'll lead by this seam that I already did sew. I'll press that part first. Mind, it's easier. Okay, there we are. So now my seam is pressed open and it lines up perfectly. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my zipper down and I'm gonna put 1/2 of it on top of the zipper. And then with my zipper foot, I'm just gonna, back stitch at the top and sew straight down. So right here, I think I'll design to go on the teeth, but the issue is the slider, I guess is the issue. So and open this guy up. And then, because see, he does have a little indentation, so you should be able to almost use that as a guide to sew straight. And then that way you keep your slider just right on top. But then you can't go past the slider, so you would just only go down to here. What you do is, maybe if you're right here and you could stop stitching and put your needle down, and then you could close it, and then you could continue on. Maybe that's what I'll try. When I'm using this guy, I guess I'm not even gonna go on top of the teeth. I'm just gonna go right next to the teeth the entire time. That'll be my strategy for this guy. This guy's strategy is to actually ride on top of the zipper teeth. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Okay, so here's how the two samples turned out. I would say they both look really good. I don't even know how to say if one looks better than the other one. I guess with this one, I started a little bit higher, where this guy, I wanted to make sure that he was on the zipper, but it doesn't really matter. It's usually this part gets sewn into a seam later. I mean, it's kind of the same thing here, a little bit. I mean, they both look great. They both worked. So just use whatever pressure fit comes with your machine. But let's see what happens with the next part, right? We're not done. So really our fabric, if we ironed it right, when you lift it up, it should meet perfectly center in the middle. But for the lap zipper, we actually don't want that. We want it to overlap so it covers up this top stitch that we just did. So what we have to do is that we have to roll it out like 1/8 of an inch. Not very much. And it's kind of nice to use, you should be able to see your fold line, the indentation, and just to go about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and then this is where I would definitely put in some pins. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see, my original fold was right here, right next to this black line. So that should line up straight up and down with the seam, that original fold, if you want your grain line to fall perfect the right way. And when that happens, now it covers my top stitch. So that's great. So it's probably a good idea to actually pin it down so it doesn't move. Okay, I'm gonna start at the top. I'm gonna poke it through, turn it, and try to poke through. Yeah, I'm gonna take out this pin and I'm gonna reuse it. Poke it through all the layers now. Poking it through all the layers. There we go. I feel like I probably don't even need to do the other two. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do is, now you wanna sew here and you wanna catch the twill tape. You wanna go straight down, and then when you get to the bottom, you do pivot turn and sew straight across, and you stop at the fold. You will sew across the teeth, so be real careful. A lot of machines can go over teeth. You just have to really sew with the hand wheel. But maybe if your stopper's up higher, you won't be going over the teeth, you'll just be going over the twill tape. And then right here, I don't like how I can see my stitching. So I think if I did this again next time, maybe it is good to stop a little bit sooner, since we can't have the lapped part cover the stitching. So like right here, see how I stopped on this side and this part's left open? That's probably gonna help me when I do my overlap, where this guy, I think I sewed too low. I got really excited that I could go low because I was using this foot, and I got a little carried away. Probably should have stopped about ½ inch higher. Okay, so I'm gonna repeat on this side. So I'm just rolling it out 1/8 inch. Do you guys see the original fold line? It's kind of easier to see it on this one for some reason. And we do our best at that little teeny part. Okay. Now, it's really important that this original fold line still lines up straight, because otherwise else your fabric's gonna twist and pucker and be weird. So nice and straight. And because you rolled out on some of the seam allowance, that should be covering that top stitch that we just did. So I want to pin it down. Okay, so now what I'm gonna go sew, and I'm gonna sew here. So again, I have my 2 feet. I think for this guy, I'm gonna be sewing on this side, so I'll insert it in the machine here, and also straight down. So some people like to get like a Scotch tape or something to follow to help them sew a straight line. You can get chalk and a ruler. I think I'm gonna grab some tape. Okay. And then I want it to stop. I want to come all the way down to here. Where's that? Yeah, like right here. I'm gonna put my tape right there. Okay. Clear tape, I'm sure it probably is not showing up that great, but I can definitely see it. So when I'm at the machine, it'll help me sew straight. And when I sew straight, I'll be catching my twill tape, and hopefully I'll be catching my seam allowance, but maybe not. Let's take a look at that. Oh yeah, this is not gonna work out very good for me because my seam allowance is not very wide, I just noticed. So 5/8 inch is not really working out well in this situation. That doesn't even look like 5. Oh yeah, because I unrolled it. Yeah, this is kind of a fail. I should have had wider seam allowance here. Uh-oh. I don't think I'm gonna be able to fix that. So yeah, this 5/8 inch seam allowance is just not enough fabric. I should have used a wider seam allowance in order to do the lap zipper. But oh well. So anyways, yeah, I would just sew straight down. And you know, the slider's not in the way, it's not a problem. I'd come down here, pivot turn, and then sew straight across and stop. And then same thing over here. It looks like, yeah, my seam allowance is like really narrow. So 5/8 inch is not cutting it. So again, even if I use this one, you don't have a problem, at least with this guy. Again, it shouldn't be, the slider shouldn't even be an issue really. I don't think so. I should be able to just go straight. Okay, so I don't know why it's not very sharp corner. It's kind of weird, but I'm gonna hand tie the knot. So let's pull up this thread. Let's get this loop on this side. We'll have the knot on the back instead of the front. And so again, I didn't backstitch, so I will hand backstitch, if you will. Here's one knot. We should double knot it. Triple if you just really want to. Okay. Oops. This is an old thread. Okay. Okay, well, presser foot actually worked okay. Your lap zipper is definitely in there. We talked about this already. It's not really covering our stitches maybe as far as we want, and that's because we used only a 5/8 inch seam allowance. So I think in retrospect, it's wiser to use 3/4 inch, maybe even 1 inch seam allowance for the lap zipper if you really want it overlapped. That's my suggestion. I just tried 5/8 because I see a lot of sewing patterns that have 5/8 inch seam allowance, and then they tell you to sew the lap zipper, and so I figured we'd try it, but it's really not my favorite. My favorite's the invisible zipper, but I've already told you guys that before. But anyways, yeah, I'm excited to see how yours turns out and what you guys think of this lap zipper application.